En vivo y en directo. Es un servicio del grupo Middle Cove en Twin Falls. Ahora más noticias y comentarios con el comentarista más odiado por los políticos trompudos. El mendigo Chupacabras.
Buenos días en cabina. El día de hoy tenemos al senador estatal Ron Taylor del Distrito 26 con nosotros para platicar acerca de varios asuntos estatales. Así que en primer lugar, muchas gracias y bienvenido. Thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate your presence with us, and we are recording this. Later on, we will put it on our YouTube channel so that people can see you, actually, your smiling face over there. Thank you, Senator, for being in studio today.
Well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate the invitation. It's nice to come down and see where you work. It's not my first time on radio, but it's my first time in your studio, and this is pretty darn cool. So
and we hope it's not the last time you're here in my studio.
It won't be.
Good.
So, yeah.
I like that. Now, I always enjoy our conversations that we have had at a number of different events. And particularly this past weekend, you and I were on stage together with Romero up in the Haley area.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The Haley Hispanic Heritage Month.
Man, that was fun.
I love that event. And next Saturday, 2 days from now, it'll be happening again in Bellevue from noon until 7. And for me, I love the event. I love the fact that there's such a vibrant culture in the Wood River Valley, and the fact that there's tradition, and we get to see that and be a part of that. It's something that it kind of brings the community together, and it's really, I'm glad Herbert has asked me to be a part of it. So.
Me too. Nos cuenta de que tuvo el placer de estar en el escenario conmigo y Romero el sábado pasado en Haley para celebrar la herencia hispana, y luego va a estar de vuelta este fin de semana, el día sábado, en 2 días en Bellevue, ya que también ha recibido la invitación de parte del señor Romero de seguir con la pachanga. Y dice que le encanta ver la tradición vibrante y dinámica de la cultura aquí en nuestra zona. For those who may not know you, you have a very interesting background, and I want you to give us a little bit of a historical capsule of your life and how you ended up being a senator, because I think it's a very fascinating story.
Thanks, Ben. I won't go back to when I was born, because that would bore everybody to death.
Okay.
I've lived in Idaho for 40 some odd years now, and for the majority of that time, I was a firefighter and paramedic, and a phenomenal career. I love doing.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Well, thank you, and it was great, and I got to about a year out of retirement, and January 6th happened, and it didn't feel right to me to watch our nation's capital go under an attack like that. And I found myself getting very upset, and I had made a decision that I could either, sit at home and throw shoes at the television and yell and be mad, or I could try and get out there and make a difference. And when I retired from the fire service, I had the opportunity to run for the state senator spot for District 26, and I was very fortunate to win that election, and I've won another one since then, and it has given me a chance to try and make a difference, and for me to represent the people of this district, and to maybe hopefully bring a little bit of peace and civility back into politics.
Cuenta que siempre, casi toda la vida, había sido paramédico y bombero. Y se había jubilado de más de 40 años de servicio cuando obviamente sucedió el asedio del Capitolio Nacional el día 6 de enero del 2021. Y se sentía muy frustrado y dijo, bueno, puedo aventarle el zapato al televisor o bien puedo hacer algo. Y en lugar de quedarse en casa, decidió postularse para senador estatal del Distrito 26 y ya ha ganado 2 elecciones desde ese entonces. Y yo creo que pues ha hecho muy buen trabajo platicando con sus constituyentes. And one of the things that I really have respected about you, Senator, is you're at a lot of different events. You are very accessible to a lot of your constituents. So if somebody has an idea or a question, you're always Johnny on the spot. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Well, thanks, Ben. Being in this position, it's given me the opportunity to realize the importance of listening to the people. For those who don't know, District 26 covers Blaine, Lincoln, and Jerome counties. So it's a fairly diverse and a fairly large and rural district. And in Boise, our voice can be lost. So I have tried my best in the three terms that I've been over there or 3 sessions to say, I'm voting on behalf of my constituents. I don't vote party line. I like to listen to the issues that are going on in this district because that's my job and it's my responsibility to be your voice. So I like to be accessible. I like listening to people. Sometimes I can't fix things. Other times I try. Not always successful, but we try.
Él dice que le encanta escuchar los comentarios, también preguntas de parte de sus constituyentes y representa una zona rural bastante grande. El distrito abarca los condados de Blaine, Lincoln y Jerome, todos esos 3 condados, y nosotros tenemos ciertas necesidades muy diferentes que el resto del estado de Idaho y por esa razón él dice que los representa a ustedes y por lo tanto no siempre vota de acuerdo con las exigencias de su propio partido, sino por las exigencias de sus constituyentes y las necesidades de cada quien en el estado de Idaho. Let's get into a few issues here that I think are important. One, obviously, that I hear everywhere. Everybody, when you go into the grocery aisle, it's just really a scary experience right now. I would have to say I'm probably paying $200 more monthly for my groceries now this year for the same amount that I was getting last year at this time. I think the tariffs and everything else has really increased things to a very critical level. And, thank goodness I'm able to buy what I need for my family. But I think there are a lot of people out there who are very much struggling. And I know they are because they're the same folks that call me on my talk show and let me know that they have a hard time buying what they need. Vamos a platicar acerca de un asunto muy importante ahora. Muchos de ustedes me comentan de que todo cuesta cada vez más. Van a comprar los abarrotes en el supermercado y yo en lo personal estoy pagando como $200 más que el año pasado. A lot of this is out of your hands, but what can you do and what can we do as a state to make things more affordable, especially at the grocery store? Because this is a critical issue.
Yeah, that's a great question, Ben. And nationally, we are challenged with some of the decisions that our administration has been making, and it's filtering down. Trickle down economics
doesn't work, in my opinion.
It doesn't work in a positive way.
No, you're correct. It does work, but not in a positive way that benefits the consumer. The working class, the proletariat, exactly. If you want to use that word.
There was one thing that the state did last year, which was increase the food tax credit. It wasn't much. It went from $120 to $150. Or if you're the type that likes to keep your receipts and scan them in, you can scan all of your receipts in at tax time and get $250 off.
Wow.
But that's really nothing in the large scheme of things.
Do you mind if I translate that? I think that's pretty important. Él nos cuenta de que es un problema nacional en este momento. Hemos visto esto como resultado de la política y económica de nuestro presidente y obviamente de muchos republicanos, por ende. Y el dinero está filtrando para arriba hacia la clase millonaria y no hacia abajo, hacia los trabajadores. En el estado de Idaho, en la última sesión, se elevó el crédito fiscal que uno como contribuyente puede recibir de 120 a 150 dólares, o bien si uno quisiera hacer un scan de todos los recibos, de todos los tickets que recibe al pagar, podría recibir hasta 250 dólares, pero realmente no es suficiente como para contrarrestar los gastos cada vez más crecientes ahí en los supermercados. Well, let me ask you this. What are your thoughts about getting rid of the taxes on groceries? I know there are some on the Republican side and, you know, a few, I guess, on the other side as well who are looking at that. I see some good arguments for and against that. I'd like to hear what you stand regarding the grocery tax.
Again, Ben, thank you. Another great question. It's something that I would have to delve into a little bit more. I know last year the governor wanted $100 million in tax cuts, and he ended up signing off on $450 million.
Ouch.
And it's put our state in a little bit of a tight financial situation. The grocery tax, getting away with that, I think would be a great idea, but I'm not sure in our current economic position that's something we can afford unless we repeal some of the tax breaks that we gave last year.
Nos cuenta que el año pasado el gobernador del estado de Idaho pidió más de $100 millones de recortes en impuestos, pero firmó 450 millones. Así que hay un déficit, hay una brecha de 350 millones de dólares. Y por esa razón, aunque le gustaría a lo mejor hablar acerca de una exención para abarrotes, por lo menos en el IVA, cuando uno va a la caja registradora, dice que no sabe si se podría, ¿no? Ya que ha habido tantos recortes, ya que el estado de Idaho ha quedado en déficit. Wow. And so that's a $350 million hole right there, yeah, between what the governor had asked and what he actually signed for. And a lot of that also goes to private schools. I mean, to me, that's $50 million, at least that's what he said. Yes. Who knows if it's going to be any more. Straight out of the top, straight out of the chute, going to parents instead of schools. And especially those who probably already had enough wealth that they were able to take care of their kids at private schools. That's a little bit disconcerting to me as a taxpayer.
It definitely is. That parental choice bill it will hurt rural areas, which District 26 is rural. And
very much so.
The fact that $50 million will not be put into the public education system in our district, there's going to be some consequences for that.
And especially since the governor is now asking everybody to come up with a 3% cut.
Yes.
And, you know, what the hell? Excuse my language there, but I mean, I'm a little bit frustrated when I see the logic behind that.
And, you know, it's interesting because the 3% cut is everything. He's asking every agency except our
K through 12,
education, right? K through 12. So, yeah, we are facing some challenges. We're hoping that we can get that $50 million repealed and put back into our school system so that we can
I don't see the legality on it. I see all sorts of issues, and I know it's up to the courts right now, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's held up in other states, so we'll see how Idaho and our judicial system can navigate this problem.
Hemos estado hablando acerca del programa de vouchers que se están otorgando a papás por primera vez en forma de $50 millones. Esa cantidad se va a quitar de los programas públicos, de todas estas escuelas públicas, así que nos va a pegar bien duro aquí en nuestros distritos rurales de Idaho. Y pues sí, prácticamente va a molar las escuelas. Al mismo tiempo, el gobernador está pidiendo que todas las agencias hagan un recorte de un 3% en sus presupuestos para el año que viene, ya que no está entrando tanto dinero. Así que hay mucha preocupación por el presupuesto del año fiscal 2026 y vamos a ver qué sucede ahí. Yeah, I think schools are probably going to be a very hot topic coming up in the 2026 legislature.
Yes, they are.
Let me ask you about another thing that has been in the news here, and I know this is kind of a touchy issue here, and I want to be very careful the way that I address it. But 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat, Ms. Alana Rubel, went to Israel at the expense of Israel on a junket. I'm just going to call it what I perceive it to be. To visit Israel. Ms. Rubel said that she went to learn more about her own culture and to represent the state of Idaho. But 150 Democrats have asked that she step down because they're concerned about that. I've looked at the state laws regarding gifts, and I will admit that it's kind of murky. The language there talks about quid pro quo. I don't know that there necessarily was any of that. But in my estimation, you get into some pecuniary violations when you start talking about somebody, whoever it might be, not even Israel, let's say even Mexico or some other entity wanted to give legislators a paid trip to go see something. That's concerning in my opinion. I'm not saying that I have all the facts, and I'm not saying that one is right or one is wrong, but as a taxpayer who is concerned about undue influence amongst legislators, I'd like to know how you would respond to that.
First of all, it is a trip that I would not have accepted. I have a very difficult time doing even when it's like, hey, let's go out and have lunch. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to have somebody buy me lunch. Because,
but that's I'm glad to hear that, Ron. I mean, I love that response. I got to say, I wish all of our legislators would say that. I appreciate your honesty.
That doesn't mean I don't.
No. I totally get it. I totally get it. But I mean, to avoid any, appearance of quid pro quo, any appearance of influence, that's awesome. I mean, I want people to listen to what our senator said here because that makes me proud. I mean, that is so cool to hear. I'm sorry, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm excited to hear that, Senator. We need to take you and replicate this all over because, I mean, I don't want that influence there.
Well, thank you. And I can't speak for Representative Rubel. My concern is that we have enough problems here in Idaho that we need to be focusing on, and to be focusing on our national and international relationships instead of what we need to be doing inside of our own borders. That's what gives me a little bit of pause, and I haven't had the opportunity to speak with her yet, personally, but all I can say is it's a trip I would not have accepted, and I think we need to focus more on.
And I'm going to say bravo once again. As a commentator, I think that's the response that I would like to hear from all of our legislators, whether they be Republican or Democrat. I think, you avoid any appearance of problems, any appearance of mispropriety. I'm not saying that anybody did anything that went against the law or anything, but ethically, I think it looks much better, and it resonates better with the culture, at least in my own opinion. So thank you for taking that stance. Estábamos hablando acerca de 4 legisladores en el estado de Idaho, 3 de ellos republicanos y una demócrata, Alana Rubel, que decidieron tomar un viaje pagado por Israel. Y él dijo, tenemos tantas cosas aquí en el estado de Idaho que nos preocupan que yo en lo personal jamás hubiera aceptado ese viaje. Y dice que aún así le incomoda aceptar ir a comer, ir a lonchar con alguien, porque no quiere que haya pues ninguna mala interpretación. Así que de ningún modo hubiera aceptado ese viaje al ser invitado como senador en el estado de Idaho. So we talked a little bit about the legislative session. We talked a little bit about the economy. We've talked a little bit about groceries. One issue that I think is very, very difficult, at least looking at the way the legislature is constituted, but you have been a champion of this in the past, is manejando sin miedo, or driving without fear, a proposal that I think would help out a lot of people by giving a driver's permit, per se, to anyone who wants it, who can prove that they are able to drive on the roadways and can take a test. Your response to that, what do you think will happen in the future, and is that something that you will continue to support?
Yes, it is something I will continue to support. 2 sessions ago, we came close.
Very close.
Very, very close. It's been in the works for, I think, 14 years now, trying to get this thing through. Government wheels definitely turn slow when things are good. I think it would be a great idea. If the more people we can get on the road who can demonstrate the fact that they understand the rules of the road and that they're legal to be on the road, is going to make it safer for everybody. It will lower insurance rates across the board for people. I think it will provide a little bit of security and safety for those people who are on the road to say, hey, if I happen to have an accident, I'm legal, I'm good. I have the proper credentials to be out here. I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to be worried. I wish that we could have an annual test for a lot of people.
Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think our roadways would be a lot safer.
I think they would. So yeah, it's something that I haven't heard is coming up yet this session. This next session is just before an election year, so it's always one of those hot topics.
Even more challenging.
And a little bit more challenging, but it is definitely something that I am continuing to support as we go forward.
El senador Taylor asevera de que seguirá dando su apoyo a una propuesta para expedir una licencia, un permiso, ¿no? Para poder manejar sin miedo. Así que apoya la propuesta de manejando sin miedo al 100%. Dice que a lo mejor se le va a dificultar un poco en la próxima sesión, ya que es un año antes de elecciones y pues obviamente los opositores no van a estar de acuerdo, pero llegamos muy de cerca hace 2 años atrás y él dice que seguirá apoyándolo con todo su corazón y lo apoya muy, muy bien. What final thoughts would you like to leave with our audience today? Now that unfortunately our time is running out here. I mean, it's gone by really quick. I mean, we could go on with all sorts of issues today.
That was fast. Maybe we can make this a weekly thing.
We need to do this more often is what we need to do, Senator.
Definitely. My thoughts are just thank you for putting me in this position to be your voice. Again, I'm open to listen to anybody. I will be at the event this Saturday in Bellevue, and hopefully we can get more of a discussion going. And I don't.
That's what the American experience is all about. Dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't speak the language. Muy poco.
See, you do. You just said it right there.
Muy poco. But
I'm sure Romero would be more than happy to translate for you.
Absolutely. So just
so look for the tallest guy around there, the tallest, skinniest gabacho around there, and that's Ron Taylor, right?
Yeah. Maybe yes. But just thank you for keeping me in office, and again, Ben, thanks for letting me come on the show today. I really appreciate it.
No, likewise, it has really been my pleasure. Él dice que si ustedes tienen preguntas, va a estar en el evento de Bellevue este fin de semana y aunque no hable, pues habla un poco de español, ustedes sí pueden pedirle a Romero que le eche la mano para traducir. Y agradece a todos ustedes por el apoyo que él ha tenido en esta última sesión legislativa. Nuestro agradecimiento y un fuerte abrazo para el gran amigazo y amigo, el señor Ron Taylor, aquí en 99.1 La Perrona, el show del Chupacabras.